are in a fen, which is a very unique type of habitat, you're going to pick up species that you don't find anywhere else on the landscape. So that was the overrunning. And we in Okanagan have some unique landscapes, and we have some cool spots. So I'm just going to go through. I gave a talk in Seattle last March, and I had like 25 species. Don't worry. It's just like 6. So we talked about this undeveloped sagebrush. Most of the valley has been, in some shape or form, been managed, whether it's been converted to orchards or cattle grazing or has become hayfields or houses. So this undeveloped, where there hasn't been a plow, is really pretty rare. And you get these soil crust species that grow on the soil and make the mounds and the crustiness and all the little lichens. And you get, oops, wrong one. You get this little species called Alowina bifrons. And, okay, look at the scale there. That's a millimeter. That's a millimeter. These are teensy, tiny little things. And this is a rare species. It's on the list. And we have it here. We actually have it up on the school grounds. Is one of the places where I found it. Unique habitat. Waterfalls in a dry forest. That doesn't happen very often, right? How many waterfalls do you think of in Okanagan County? One. The waterfall on Mount Hole, right? The big one that you can see from the highway. There's other little ones. But I did go to that waterfall up on Mount Hole during my thesis work, and I found orthophic moles in the area. Okay, there are no fresh live pictures of this thing, so I'm sorry, this is an herbarium specimen, totally smashed. Not very pretty, but this is growing in this ephemeral waterfall. It's also growing in George's stream behind his house. So when I did my master's, this was the 8th known population of this species. So it found that like the 8th and 9th populations of this species known ever. And I was with Dale Vitt, who wrote the book about orthopterums, so I feel pretty good about saying that. So boreal habitat is like all the habitat that I showed pictures of Manitoba, this moss mats and this spruce forest. Well, that type of habitat just comes barely down into Washington in our forests here. And so when you get into this upper level stream, you get some unique species. So I have to confess that I haven't yet found this in Okanagan County. I found it in Ferry County, and I found it in Chelan County this past summer. So I think it's here, I just haven't found it yet. This is Lion Bloody. Sorry?
Where in Ferry County?
Sherman Pass. Is that Ferry County?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So right up on the pass where the trails are and stuff, there's a stream up there that faces north, and I found it up in there. And then in Chelan County, it was near the Summer Blossom Meadows area, way up on the ridge, way back up there between the Methow and Chelan. So, Nyan Blighty. So when you're identifying mosses, right, you get through the keys by making choices. Does it have this or this, and has this, so you go to this next number, right? And there's things that you just always skip over because you've never seen that before. And this one was one of those. In the Nyan key, right at the beginning, post-mortem color blue. When it dies, it turns blue. Okay, I haven't ever seen that. That's just weird. So you just skip right over that. Well, when I put this specimen under the microscope to identify it, there were blue spots on the leaves. I was like, oh my gosh, it's the blue one. That's so cool. So this one turns blue when it dies, which I think is really cool. And it's rare. I don't think it's on the list, but it should be because we know of like 3 locations of it. And so then we have these fen habitats. This is a picture of Meadow Lake up on Mount Hole. It has a floating mat out on it and has some really unique species. These aren't necessarily all from Meadow Lake, but that's a cool place. So Elodium blandolia is actually a common fen moss. There's probably about 20 known locations of it. And when you get into a fen, and when there is some groundwater influence where water is traveling under the ground and then coming out into the wetland, you usually pick up the species. Like 20 times in the state, right? That's pretty cool. It is on the list and it has been found more times. So this is Paliudella sclerosa. I was, during my master's degree, up on a wetland on Bonaparte and found this, and this was the first known location in Washington at that point. I found it in maybe 5 or 6 different locations. In addition to that, mostly up on that crest between Long Swamp and Rogers Lake, up in there, and then this past spring I found one over in Ferry County. So they get to join the club, the Paliudella sclerosa club.
Is the stem square? Is that why it gets the name sclerosa?
Scleros in botany terms means curved back.
Oh.
It forms it's almost square coming off of the stem,
Okay.
so that all of these leaves curl back. That's where it gets sclerosa. This is Mercia hibernica. This is a liverwort, thalloid liverwort, and I found this up on, it was in the Tiffany Meadows area, and I was with another nerdy botanist, biologist kind of guy, and I was like, look at this is so cool, and he was like, no, okay. And then I identified it out, and there aren't, liverwort lists, we don't really know what's here or what's there, but I couldn't find any records of this one in Washington. And then this one, Synclidium stagium, I know is a new record to Washington. I found this 2 summers ago in Rogers Lake. The closest known sites, according to the consortium, are like 300 miles up into British Columbia, or like 250 miles over the Rockies into Montana. So I think some dispersal happens, but yeah, it was pretty cool to find this one. Like I had to start at the beginning of the key, right? Like it's like it looks like a rising onion, but it's not a rising onion. So that one was pretty cool to find.